I'm on the Coinbase homepage, right?
Yeah.
And bam, front and center, plastered across my screen, it says $400 in rewards. Yeah, okay, they're really trying to sweeten the deal right off the bat. Is this like a standard crypto industry tactic, like a loss leader at the grocery store?
Yeah.
Get you in the door.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's definitely a tactic you see a lot in this space. I mean, think about it. Crypto, it can feel risky, uncertain for a lot of people. So a little upfront incentive, it goes a long way.
Makes sense.
But don't let those dollar signs be the only thing you're looking at.
Always read the fine print, right?
Always read the fine print. Like right here, see this teeny tiny footnote next to the $400. Yeah, mention something about median estimated savings.
Okay, so maybe not a guaranteed $400. Noted. But even beyond the whole rewards thing, there's a lot going on here. I mean, you can buy and sell all the usual suspects, obviously. Bitcoin, Ethereum, all that. But then there's this whole section on Coinbase wallets, a Coinbase debit card. There's even something called like Coinbase One. It's like they want to be your crypto home base.
Yeah, they're definitely aiming to be that one-stop shop for sure.
So for someone who's totally new to this, what's the most, I don't know, intriguing thing here? What would you say?
I think the most interesting thing here is that they're really trying to bridge this gap. You know what I mean? Between this digital world of crypto and then like the real world, where we actually use money, spend money. So like that Coinbase card, for example. That's a great example. You can actually use that to spend your cryptocurrency at places that, they might not even accept Bitcoin directly. So they're trying to make crypto more tangible, more like integrated into everyday life.
Interesting. So they're not just about buying and selling. They want to be your crypto guide. Which brings me to this whole section, and they're really emphasizing this, the Learn tab. But I got to be honest, some of these article titles, Bitcoin halving, Ethereum merge, it's a little intimidating. Like, can you just break those down for us, plain English? Why should someone on Coinbase, why should they care about any of this stuff?
Yeah, no, you're right. Some of those terms, they sound like they're straight out of like a science fiction movie or something. But they're actually really important concepts. And they can directly impact your experience on Coinbase. Like, for example, Bitcoin halving. In the simplest terms, it's this event that happens like roughly every 4 years. And basically what happens is the rate at which new Bitcoins are created gets cut in half.
Really?
Yep. It's built into Bitcoin's code. It's designed to control its supply.
So it's like a pre-programmed scarcity event.
Oh.
Okay, I could see why people would be kind of obsessed with this. So if I'm on Coinbase, right, and I see news about, I don't know, like an upcoming Bitcoin halving, should I be hitting the buy button, the sell button? Like what?
Well, that's where things get interesting. Because historically, after a Bitcoin halving, often, but not always, we've seen Bitcoin's price go up. Now, is that guaranteed to happen again? Absolutely not. But it's these sorts of events that can create some serious volatility,
So knowledge is power. Like actually knowing about these events through Coinbase's resources could help you make smarter decisions, potentially. That's pretty cool, actually. But then there's this whole other section here. It's for developers, and they're talking about building on the Coinbase platform. We've got developer platform, on-chain kit. This feels like we've moved way beyond like Bitcoin for beginners at this point. Like what kind of building are we even talking about here?
So basically, Coinbase is providing the tools, the infrastructure for developers to create, this next generation of applications. And these are applications that are powered by blockchain technology. So we could be talking about anything from, like decentralized finance apps to completely new ways to manage like digital identities. It's a lot.
Okay, so it's not just about like trading existing cryptocurrencies. They're talking about building the future of finance on this platform.
Yeah.
And they're inviting developers to come and be a part of that. Huh. That's kind of a bold move, isn't it?
It is, and I think it really shows you how Coinbase is trying to position itself. They're not just a platform to buy and sell crypto. They want to be a key player in how this whole ecosystem evolves, how it changes.
So Coinbase is aiming to be like this crypto hub. A place to learn, a place to trade, a place to build. But what does that even mean for like the average person? Are they trying to make crypto more mainstream, or is it actually becoming more complex with all this like developer stuff?
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the answer is, honestly, probably a little bit of both. Because on one hand, yeah, they're definitely trying to make crypto more accessible. The learning resources, the whole user interface, that Coinbase card we were talking about, it's all about making it less intimidating for the average person.
Right. It's like crypto might seem scary, but don't worry. We're here to hold your hand.
Exactly. But at the same time, they're also creating this foundation for this much more like complex and sophisticated crypto ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
Remember those developer tools? Those aren't for like your average Joe. They're trying to attract serious tech people who are going to come in and build the next generation of like decentralized applications.
Wow.
It's a lot.
So it's like a tale of two cryptos happening at the same time. The friendly, approachable Coinbase for everyday users. And then like this whole other level, this like matrix-like world of developers building, like who knows what?
And that's where it gets interesting because as more and more developers are like drawn to platforms like Coinbase, it's really going to start pushing the boundaries of what's possible. It's not just buying and selling Bitcoin anymore. We're talking about changing how we even think about finance, about data, about the internet itself.
Okay, my head is officially spinning now, but like in a good way. This deep dive has seriously taken us down the rabbit hole. It reminds me of that quote, I don't know if you've heard this, but it's like, the future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed. But in this case, it feels like Coinbase is like trying to distribute the future of finance piece by piece.
It's a really fascinating case study for sure. And it'll be really interesting to see like how their approach to all this stacks up against other players in the space.
Well, speaking of stacking up, I noticed they're really pushing this Coinbase One membership. Is that a common thing in the crypto world, this whole subscription model?
It's definitely a trend we're seeing more and more of, and not just with crypto. Think about it. You've got your Netflix subscription, Spotify, Amazon Prime, probably. It's all about, creating that ecosystem, locking people in with perks and benefits and all that. Coinbase is kind of just taking that same playbook and applying it to this world of digital assets.
So it's like, come for the maybe $400 bonus, stay for the exclusive crypto club.
Yeah.
But jokes aside, this whole Coinbase One thing, it makes you wonder, right? Like, are they just trying to make a quick buck off this whole thing? Or are they actually invested? Do they really believe in this for the long haul?
That's the question, isn't it? What's the end game here? And honestly, there's no easy answer. But I think what we can see from all of this, just from looking at the platform, is that Coinbase is clearly trying to appeal to, like, everyone. The newbie who's just, opening their Coinbase app for the first time, and then, that seasoned developer who's building the next big thing, the next big decentralized app.
It's a fascinating line to walk, that's for sure. And honestly, after digging into all this, I'm more curious about Coinbase than I was before we even started. I got to ask, though, what do you think, just based on what we've seen on their platform, are they going to be a major player in this whole future of finance thing?
I think they definitely have the potential. I mean, they've got the name recognition, they've got the users, and they're clearly putting a ton of resources into growing and expanding. And there's always a but, isn't there?
Right. There's always a catch.
The crypto world, it's unpredictable. Remember those Bitcoin halving events we talked about? Just one example of how quickly things can change.
Oh, for sure. So even with all the educational resources in the world, all the fancy developer tools, there's still that risk factor. Like it's built into the DNA of cryptocurrency, right?
Exactly. And that's why, like, with any investment, anytime you're putting your money out there, you gotta do your research. You gotta understand what you're getting into, the risks, all of that. And never, this is key, never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Solid advice. So for someone listening to all this, right, maybe their head is spinning a little bit, there's a lot to take in. What's the one thing you want them to remember about Coinbase?
The biggest thing to remember is that platforms like Coinbase, yeah, they're making cryptocurrency more accessible, but accessible doesn't automatically equal safe, right? You still got to be curious, you got to stay informed, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Perfectly said. So to wrap this whole thing up, if Coinbase is going all in on education, on developer tools, does that make you personally more or less likely to trust them with your money?
Honestly, that's a question everyone has to answer for themselves, right?
Yeah.
But I'll say this, the fact that they're making these moves, investing in education, building a platform for the future, it does kind of show you they're thinking long term. Whether that translates to actual success, who knows? Only time will tell.
Well said. This deep dive has given us, I think, a lot to think about. The world of crypto, it's constantly changing, always evolving, and platforms like Coinbase, they're right there on the front lines. So, until next time, everyone, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and whatever you do, don't forget to read the fine print.